Brothers and sisters, what is up? Welcome back to yet another one from us. We are trusting and hoping and believing that all is well on your side. So, brothers and sisters, on the 29th May 2024, we saw South Africa going to the polls voting for a new government. And we had our own hopes, we're hoping for EFF to take charge of South Africa. And some South African brothers and sisters in our comment section didn't like us for that. They kept on telling us, take Malema for yourselves. You don't need Malema, just because of his foreign policy. Most people didn't vote for Malema because of his open borders kind of policy, his uniting of Africa. Most of them are like, Malema is all about Africa and not South Africans. So what happened? The ANC, unfortunately this time around, it could not get the number of votes that it needed for it to continue being, the party in government, in leadership. So with 40.2% of votes after the elections, the ANC was forced to get into a coalition with other parties so that it can continue to lead South Africa. Well, what happened is that they went into a government of national unity with the Democratic Alliance, a white majority-led party, and other parties like Inkatha Freedom Party. So, the beginning of South African problems, well, from where I see it, happened on the 29th of May, where South Africans were divided. We saw EFF potential voters getting divided to vote for Umkhonto weSizwe political party by the former president Jacob Zuma. And we were hoping that if only those two could hold hands and, join hands and say, let us take South Africa to better heights, maybe South Africa could have been in the hands of black South Africans, and maybe we could be seeing positive changes that are going to make sure that the black South African benefits from being a South African and from the mineral world, every resources and every wealth, the land that belongs to South Africa. But what happened? South Africans decided, they voted. A lot of black South Africans also voted for Democratic Alliance, the white-led, political party. Well, it's their choice, their decision. But what we are seeing right now, brothers and sisters, and most people are starting to regret their decisions. South African Parliament seems like a circus nowadays. From just arguments about languages and from not, seeing eye to eye on issues, the biggest issue that we are seeing right now is that of language. South Africa, as we know, has 12 official languages, and part of these languages is English, Afrikaans, and then we have our Vernacular, the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Ndebeles, the Swati, the Venda, the Tsonga, the Tswana, and all of them. But you find that in Parliament, the languages that are mostly used are English and Afrikaans. And when the members of Parliament decide to express themselves in their vernacular languages, it becomes a problem because you now have a government which its GNU is formed by a white-led political party, which most of its members do not understand the vernacular languages of South Africa. They don't understand the Zulu, they don't understand the Ndebeles, the Xhosas, the Vendas languages of South Africa. So you find that the chair of a session, for example, debates, is a white lady who does not understand these vernacular languages. So when the members express themselves in their own languages, there's points of correction. They are stopped even before they can express themselves and, give their points on issues. And when other members are expressing themselves in English and Afrikaans, she does not stop them. The debate continues, it's fine. And we have seen in most circumstances, there are no translators for Afrikaans, for English, for, the vernacular languages. So when these other guys express themselves in Afrikaans, you find that the chair doesn't stop them and they continue and they finish expressing their point. And there are other, members that don't understand Afrikaans. Our fellow black South Africans in Parliament who don't understand Afrikaans. So you find that some things will just be said and debated on, and they are passed and they go through. And these guys could not even, object because they didn't understand. So when these same people do the same in their languages, Zulu, Xhosa, Ndebeles and all of them, they are stopped, they are interjected, because now the chair doesn't understand and it can't continue, because they also need to understand so that they can, know what is happening, what is going on. Is that fair? You will tell me, brothers and sisters, because it's just a total mess in South African Parliament. And some of these issues were, expected. I guess Malema is just laughing from where he is and saying, I told you guys. I told you this was about to happen. And looking at things, I'm not seeing any unity in the parliament, because you are seeing plenaries, you are seeing discussions and debates going on, and people are just arguing about the fact that there are no interpreters, we can't understand what you're saying. There's just no way forward. Some are even calling for the adjournment of parliament of some of these sessions because they didn't understand what is happening. So what are we doing really? I want to read from the Times magazine just briefly on what is happening so that we can get, a background of this matter. MPs in at least 4 parliamentary committees where there was no interpretation provided for languages besides English and Afrikaans did not take kindly to the failure. In the Committee of Transport, MPs' feathers were ruffled when only Afrikaans-speaking and English-speaking people were catered for. Several members from the MK party and the EFF took the chair to task over the matter, proposing an adjournment. This was rejected by the chair on Monday, who said she was presiding for the first time in the National Assembly. The MPs argued it was not a coincidence that other languages were excluded, and they persisted in speaking their languages. Again on Monday, the Correctional Services Committee had the same issue and MPs addressed it with the chair. There was also protest when National Assembly Deputy Speaker Dr. Anneli Lotrate, who presided over the Public Service and Administration Committee, told the House the interpretation services were not active on Friday. EFF MPs alleged this was not the first time. Chairs complained of staff shortages, translators, and there were several other simultaneous sessions. They said nothing could be done about the debate at the moment. According to the rules, the Deputy Speaker is responsible for ensuring implementation of Parliament's language policy. Parliament has been providing simultaneous interpretation for all South African official languages, including sign language. Yeah, in a country where you have like 12 official languages, and I guess, you are blessed to have that variety and to acknowledge all of these languages as, your official languages. I think South Africa needs to come up with a solution for this, because it just doesn't make sense that they will keep on arguing and keep on, taking each other back and forth on a language issue and a language barrier that could eventually be sorted. My problem with this is that the chair, especially Dr. Anneli Lotrate and her fellow colleagues, kept on saying that they don't understand Zulu. They don't understand the most commonly spoken language of South Africa is Zulu. Is Xhosa. Those are languages that even people who are speaking Venda, when they are living in Joburg, those people try by all means to learn Zulu and Xhosa because they are just widely spoken, especially in Johannesburg and, your Pretorias. That's a language that most people will just speak comfortably, even if they are not coming from those tribes. When you're coming from Venda and maybe living in those provinces, then it could be understandably so that you don't understand Zulu because there's not much interaction with the Zulus, Amazulu. So, for a woman who lives within those, localities, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. The fact that you call yourself South African, the fact that some of you have even been born there or lived your whole lives in South Africa, it's by force. It should be by force that you learn the South African vernacular languages. There is no excuse. If she was saying, I don't understand Venda or Tswana or the other languages that are not commonly spoken in your Johannesburgs, in your Pretorias, then I could understand. But languages like isiZulu, those are the kind of languages that at least learn that. At least let us say, at least we are Zulu. It's even better than saying, I don't understand your languages and now I can't even engage you in whatever point you have to put across in Parliament. It's very unfair, brothers and sisters. These people have been calling themselves African, South Africans, They have been calling themselves South Africans. We are not the ones who call them South Africans. They are calling. So if you have to call yourself South African, make an effort to learn. I've seen a lot of white people speaking fluent Zulu even better than Amazulu of KwaZulu-Natal. They speak better isiZulu because they make an effort to learn. Who are you, Dr. Anneli Lotrate, to say I don't understand. I mean, you are in parliament now. It's your role, it's your duty to learn and understand these languages. South Africans are very blessed, brothers and sisters. You will find somebody speaking all 12. Black South Africans, I swear, they will speak your Afrikaans, they will speak your isiZulu, they will speak your Swati, they will speak all the languages effortlessly. Because they live amongst people who speak the languages, they take an effort to learn. They are open-minded to say, oh, I would love to know how to speak Setswana. I would love to speak Venda. I would love to know. I would love to understand. I wouldn't want to lose out on issues just because I don't understand the language and it's at my disposal. People are speaking it every way. So what's difficult about learning? Some of us had to learn languages in 3 months. I had to learn Swahili in a span of 3 months. Just 3 months I learned to speak fluent Swahili because I made an effort to speak, to learn. And living amongst people who speak the language, it's easy for you to do so. So this is not a matter of black and white. Oh, we speak English and Afrikaans, we don't understand your vernacular. You are living in that country. I mean, you call yourself South African. The only best thing that you can do at least is to try and learn the languages and speak it fluently. You've been there your whole life. What's the excuse? You can't now come and say, I don't understand. And if you don't understand, then why you shouldn't be bringing a problem in parliament where issues are being debated in vernacular language to now say, but we don't understand the language. And you expect black South Africans to understand Afrikaans. Very unfair. And this is what happens in South Africa, brothers and sisters, when people as old as our parents work in these homes or houses of these guys, the white guys, they have to learn how to speak Afrikaans because these people make sure that their kids speak Afrikaans. So if you're a black old woman who has never even spoken English before, not even Afrikaans, English, you will start by learning English. You will have to learn Afrikaans because that is the language of command in their houses. And then you find that they don't want to learn our languages. It's very unfair. And you were warned, South Africans. You never listened. So I guess this is what you get for making the decisions and choices that you made. Brothers and sisters, please let me know what you think about this confusion in South Africa. Feels like a circus right now. I don't know what's the way forward for this parliament, because it seems like issues will not be debated on just by the mere fact that people don't understand other people's languages, when we should all be making an effort to learn. Actually, it should be by force that if you are an MP, if you're a parliamentarian, if you're a minister, you should speak all the South African languages. You should learn before you start working. If you know only one, learn the other 11, including the South African Sign Language. Learn it because it's very important for the communication in that house. That should be the first rule of the house. Learn all the languages, whether black or white, you should learn. And that's my solution for this problem, because it seems like a problem that is not going to be resolved anytime soon. And you have a lot of South Africans who have gone to school to learn some of these languages. They should be employed. South Africans are unemployed. They should be given these jobs to interpret. If people don't want to learn these languages, then give young South Africans the job to interpret. That is all I can say on this issue. If you would like to support us, we have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description box down below. Super thanks, super chats, everything is activated. Please make sure you support us in that way. And you can support us by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and doing whatever you can do with these videos. We will appreciate your support. See you in the next one. Bye.